Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast covers everything tech. The hottest mobile phones, tablets, games. We review it, rate it, test it. Whether you're Microsoft or Apple, Android or iPhone, we'll give it to you black and white. The Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GSMC Technology Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie, and I am so excited about today's episode. This is a little bit of a selfish episode for me. I recently got a job where I have to walk for like 20 minutes of my commute, and I've been thinking it would be a lot easier and a lot faster if I had some sort of device or bike or scooter or one wheel that could get me to the destination a little bit faster. I do take public transit, so a bike is a little less realistic because then you have to hook it up to the front of the bus and it's annoying to carry. So I thought it would be a really fun podcast idea if I reviewed scooters versus one-wheel devices. So I'm talking about those like unicycle, skateboard things you've been seeing. We're going to be reviewing 5 different scooters and 5 different one-wheels, and we're going to talk about their speed, their cost, their weight, how easy it is to carry them around, and all of that fun stuff and more on today's podcast, so make sure you stick around for that. Before we get into today's podcast, I just want to remind everyone to please subscribe to this podcast and write a review down below. We post new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I love hosting this because we review tech products. We review tech trends. Last week I did an episode on tech beauty products that was super fun, and I'm not going to lie to you, it made me want to buy a couple of the products. So definitely go check out our old episodes and write a review down below of what you want me to talk about in the future, because I definitely do take inspiration from those reviews and from your comments. So definitely, if you have a thought, feel free to share it with me. So before we get into today's review of our products, let's talk about what is new in the technology world. So just for a blanket statement so everybody knows, I also host the GSMC Marketing Podcast. And over there we were talking about these news stories, and as I was talking about them, I was like, wait, this also affects the technology world. So if you're somebody who's in marketing but you're just interested in tech or vice versa, make sure you go check out that podcast, because we're talking about similar things, but we're talking about it from the technology perspective rather than the marketing perspective. So our first story of today is that Netflix is setting to change their marketing plan, and this will apparently reflect in layoffs to the Netflix marketing team. And the reason I want to take a look at this from a tech perspective is because we've been following the Netflix story very closely over the last couple of podcast episodes ever since the debut of Disney+. Netflix has been losing subscribers. They've been getting rid of their shows, some of their biggest shows. They got rid of Friends. They got rid of The Office, or it will be leaving here at the end of 2021. So people are sort of starting to wonder, what is the point of me subscribing to Netflix? Why should I stay? And also, I found out recently, because I am Canadian, I was talking to my sister about how Friends is still available on Netflix Canada. So I don't even understand what's happening. I don't understand how that all works, why it's available in Canada and it's not in the United States, but that's a rant for another time. What I want to talk about is how Netflix is going to be changing their marketing plan from being focused less on their individual shows and more on their overall service. So it leads me to ask the question for all of us like tech lovers out there, what is so special about their service that they need to market that more than their actual shows? Because is their service not the same service as Amazon and Disney+? What will they be focusing on that is going to highlight their tech services more than their content services? Because right now, apparently, they spent $1.8 billion on advertising in 2018. And that was for advertising their individual products, such as shows like Glow and the movie Bird Box and all of those comedy specials and all of those like shows that they were doing, like my next guest is with David Letterman. They were spending those marketing dollars on advertising those individual products, but now all of that money will instead go towards advertising the product itself, which is a streaming service. It's a pretty basic idea. There's a lot out there right now. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what spin they put on that, and maybe we'll see some new features coming to Netflix, and that is why they want to focus on the actual tech system itself rather than the product. So we're just going to have to wait and see to get more information on that as this story progresses. Our next story for today is that Facebook has created an off-Facebook activity tool that is restricting data available to digital advertisers. So again, I'm sure you can see why I talked about this on the marketing episode, but the reason I want to bring it up in today's episode of the Tech Podcast is because we talk about Facebook a lot on this tech podcast because it is such a huge tech giant, and they're always making changes specifically for their data and their privacy laws and those restrictions. So it's very interesting to see Facebook sort of helping their actual customer rather than digital agencies, because in the past, that has been a really big problem with Facebook, is that they've just been willing to give out data. So it's interesting to see this new feature come up, but it is also a little bit funny as not a lot of people are going to go through the effort of switching this privacy setting off. You have to go through your settings menu on the social network, and it leads you to a list of brands that have data on your user. People can see if brands such as Hulu, J.Crew, Home Depot, or any mass marketers have shared their data with Facebook. You can also delete the data so that the brand can no longer use that connection as a way to target with personal ads. If a person deletes their online tracks, a brand might not be able to tell if and when they served that person an ad, or whether the ad was effective. So this is obviously going to impact marketers, but I want to focus on how it's impacting the individual consumer and user, because I can say that when I read this, I went on and turned off my data for all of those companies, for all of those brands. But is everybody going to feel the need to do that? We are, I hate to say it, we're a bit of a lazy generation, and they seem to have made it not exactly easy to go in and turn it off. You have to delete individual things. You have to go through each brand. Like, here's the thing. I listed off 4 brands. Think about how many brands are actually currently marketing to you. It's not going to be 4. It's going to be a huge list. So this is going to take time. This is going to take energy. And I'm nervous that not a lot of people are actually going to take the time and energy to turn it off if it's something they care about. So something to be aware of as the individual consumer, and it's just something I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. Our third story for today is that Spotify and Instagram are now officially combining forces with a third-party source called Canvas so that they can loop their features together. And I thought this story was really important for the Tech Podcast because right now I feel like we're going to be seeing a shift in what social media platforms are the most popular and the most used. TikTok is catching up to Instagram. So if Instagram wants to beat them, they're going to have to pull out the big guns here, and that might mean combining their resources with other companies such as Spotify. So it was really interesting to see this partnership and their use of a third party, which is Canvas, and I'll be really interested to see the content that is generated through these 2 social media platforms. Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and take a short break from the podcast, but when we come back, we are going to get right into our review of our scooters. I have picked out 5 scooters that I think are super cool, super sleek, and super innovative, and we're going to rank them from 1 to 5. So stay tuned for that, because you are listening to the GSMC Technology Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and I'll be right back.
Do you work in the world of marketing and advertising? Are you a media buyer or the owner of an agency? Have you been looking for a podcast to help stay on top of all the goings-on of those worlds? The GSMC Marketing News Podcast is dedicated to keeping you up to date on all things concerning marketing and advertising. Get the latest marketing news, from what major businesses have planned for the coming year to the newest trends in advertising, from podcasts, digital and streaming, to the old standbys of radio, television, and billboards. The GSMC Marketing News Podcast has you covered, whether you're a marketing agent or a business trying to expand your brand.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GSMC Technology Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jakewish, and thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. On today's episode, we are reviewing scooters versus one-wheel transportation devices. I live in Seattle, and so not a lot of people, okay, everybody has cars, but not a lot of people actually drive their cars or have a valid driver's license, or like there seems to be a lot of traffic, but it appears just to be people going through the city because everybody is using these rideshare bikes, they're using Uber, or they're on some sort of scooter or one wheel. So I've really had the opportunity lately to go out and watch people in my city and see how they're using these bits of technology as a transportation device, because I'm from Alberta, Canada, and this definitely would not have been an option where I lived to like ride a unicycle to work because it would have been too cold. So now that I have the opportunity to ride a one-wheel cycle or to ride a scooter to work, I want to kind of test out these products and see which one will be the best for my lifestyle, but also review it to see if any are good or useful for your lifestyle. So right now we are going to review the top 5 scooters that I found, and I'm going to give you their price, I'm going to give you their weight, and I'm going to give you some stats and facts on them. So number 1, the City Glide C200 kick scooter. So this will cost you $90. It is a large 18 It has large 18-inch wheels, a 23-inch scooter deck, and a 17-inch wide handles. It is height adjustable and has an aircraft-grade aluminum deck and a high-performance folding. It's the most solid ride for kids 8 years. Oh my God. It is a solid ride and can hold up to 220 limbs and fits a shoe size 12. So the thing to remember with this scooter is that it is a push scooter. All the other ones on this list are electric scooters, which is why this one's number 1 and not number 5, because although it's really great, it is a great price, $90. It is a push scooter. There is no electric element to it, so you're still going to have to, it's leg day is all I'm saying. Like, it's not going to be a smooth ride. You're going to have to work a little bit for it. So something to be aware of for sure. This folds into a compact 31.5 and 11.5 inches, and it is also only 9 pounds, so it's super lightweight. You can fold it up, take it with you on the bus, fold it up and put it underneath your desk, and it's just going to be a really great and easy ride. And again, the price is really great. It's $90. All these other ones are like over $200. So if you're just looking for something to sort of get you around town, you're not doing any sort of serious scootering with this, I really recommend this product, and I give it 4 out of 5 stars, and it is only missing that 1 star because it's a push scooter. Number 2, the Exomi Me electric scooter. So this one is $371, but it's electric. So it has a 250-watt motor, and it propels your e-scooter to a max speed of 15.5 miles per hour. It has a high-capacity battery with a maximum travel range up to 18.6 miles under specific road conditions. So you're not going to be able to ride this through like storming rain or storming snow. So again, for anybody who's listening from Alberta, Canada, the scooter is not for you. None of these scooters are for you. Get a car that has 4-wheel drive. Secondly, this scooter weighs 26.9 pounds, but it has a portable folding design for easy storage for your home or carry-on devices. It has a sturdy frame that is made easy for aerospace-grade aluminum. that is made from aerospace-grade aluminum. This has a double braking system and is responsive braking distance of 13.1 feet, and it has a large 18.5-inch front. That doesn't make sense. Has a braking distance of just 13.1 feet. So I give the Exomi Me electric scooter 4 out of 5 stars. The reason that I'm not giving it that 5th star is because it weighs almost 30 pounds. And for me, and probably for you, that's not super realistic to be carrying around all day. If there's a large part of your day you have to carry the scooter. But I do really love that it has a double braking system because I live on top of a hill. Again, I live in Seattle, so it's impossible for me not to live on top of a hill. But it does make it really challenging to ride a scooter down the hill, especially if it's a push scooter like the City Glide. But this one has that double braking system, so I feel a little bit more safe traveling around on that. Number 3, the Swagger 5T high-speed electric scooter. So this scooter is $300. It has a 250-watt electric hub motor that allows for speeds to be up to 18 miles per hour or 29 kilometers per hour for all my Canadians out there listening. And it can roll over inclines as steep as 20 degrees. This is a charge-and-go scooter. It can recharge the power. It can charge the battery fully within 3.5 hours for and it will last you 6 to 11 miles or 17.7 kilometers of travel. So this one definitely gets 5 out of 5 stars for me. It is a little bit more pricey, but you only have to charge it for 3.5 hours, and it gives you so much battery time. It goes really fast. The incline speed is super great as well. And I just think, one, it does look super cool. If you go Google this image, it is super sleek and super stylish. It's going to fold up just like all the other ones. It might be a little bit on the heavier side, but it's not 30 pounds. And it's going to get you there in a fast and comfortable speed. Number 4, the Segway 9Bot Max electric kick scooter. So this is by far the most expensive scooter, which is why it's almost the best scooter on our list. This is $795. What? Okay, maybe I would consider buying this scooter if I was, on my way to work at Mark Zuckerberg's house and I'm his boss. That's how much money I'm making. But a realistic scenario, this bike is very costly and you need to make sure that you're using it all the time if you're investing this type of money. But you might be able to use it all the time because it has a 350-watt motor. It can reach 18.6 miles per hour and travel up to 40 miles on one battery load. So that is by far the best battery consumption we've seen. That is by far the best battery power we've seen so far. It can hold your load up to 220 pounds, and it has a smart battery management system that assures the battery safety and extends the battery life. So the reason it's getting 5 stars, the reason it's number 4 on our list is really that battery power, because a lot of these might be able to get, so I'm just going to keep using myself as the example here. They might be able to get me from point A to point B on my way to work, but I'm worried that on my way home from work, I'm going to have to carry these scooters. Whereas the Segway 9Bot Max electric kick scooter, that's probably going to last me 2 full days of the travel I have to do versus the 1-day trip recharge. Now, I'm probably going to charge it every night, but it is definitely going to get you all the places you need to go on very little battery power. So that's super great. I don't love the price, but it's just so sleek and so cool that it would be worth it. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know. If you end up buying this scooter, let me know if it's actually worth the price. I totally think it would be. I'm just not able to spend that kind of money right now. And number 5 on our list, the best scooter I was able to find is the GoTrax GXL V2 commuting electric scooter. So this one is the best bang for your buck. It is $250, but it has a handbrake, cruise control, reinforced frame, and a lock mechanism. The height for the handlebars to the deck is 38 inches. It has a 250-watt motor, and it can hold your weight up to 220 pounds, and it can go to the speed of 15.5 miles per hour. So guys, great bang for your buck. Looks really great. Isn't super expensive. Will go just as fast as you need it to and will hold all of your weight. So I definitely am considering getting this because it's going to last you a long time. Yes, it's $250, but it's going to last you a long time. It's going to get you where you need to go. It has cruise control, so you don't need to do any work, which is fantastic because I'm riding this thing on my way to work. I'm usually a little tired in the morning. So just a super great scooter. I really love it. I think it looks really, really great, and it would be something I'd be willing to buy. So if you buy any of these scooters or you have a different scooter that I didn't name, let me know. Write it to me on social media. Write it to me in the review down below. Private message me on social media if you don't want other people to see it, because I would love to hear your recommendations on scooters and on these products I recommended for you. So we're going to go ahead and take a short break from the podcast, but when we come back, I'm going to give you my top 5 recommendations for one-wheel devices that you can be trying if you're not really into that whole scooter life. So stay tuned for that, because you are listening to the GSMC Technology Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and I'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hello and welcome back to the GSMC Technology Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and on today's episode, we are rating and reviewing transportation tech devices that you can use to get around your city or maybe just your urban community if you're looking for something other than a car or public transit. So before the break, I gave you my top 5 recommendations for scooters, but now I'm going to give you my top 5 recommendations for one wheels, which could be tricycles, skateboards, any of those smaller devices that are kind of new and happening right now. They're very, very trendy. So, number 1, gyro shoes, electric hover shoes. So, this made the top 5 list, but I'm never going to buy them. Let me tell you right now, I'm never going to buy them. This is not even a consideration for me. I just wanted to put it on the list because maybe it'll be a consideration for you. These are hover shoes. They cost $230. They have a 30-watt brushless motor, and they can support up to 22 to 220 limbs altogether. So, they're just silly looking. I'm not going to lie to you. Maybe you can look cool on these, but I know I wouldn't be able to. The idea that I would have to balance myself not just on one hoverboard, but on 2 separate little hoverboards, that's just giving me anxiety I can't handle. And I know I'm going to fall down. I know I'm going to lose one of these. I mean, I lose the shoes that don't hover. So, just for me, this isn't going to work. But for you, it might. It definitely is very cool. It definitely can support your weight. It has a really fast motor. So for you, the gyro shoes, electric hover shoes, might be your ticket to a nice, smooth ride. But for me, they're just not what I'm looking for. But I will give them 4 out of 5 stars because they're still going to get you where you need to go. They are super lightweight. They have a fast motor. And they're not horribly priced. This is definitely at the lower end of our price range for today, with only being $230. So definitely look into these hover shoes if you're somebody who is just looking for a challenge. I mean, I'm too clumsy, but hey, if you're well balanced, I'm sure there's a bunch of ballerinas out there who are just waiting to use these hover shoes. Number 2, the Hover Club Solo Electric Unicycle. This product is $300. It has a 500-watt motor, and it propels the electric unicycle to a max speed of 7.5 miles per hour. It has a high-capacity battery and delivers up to 12.5 miles of travel range. So this is a really great little unicycle. It's not what you're thinking. It's not something like a clown would ride as they juggle. It is super sleek. It is super cool looking. It's super lightweight to travel with. It can store easily under your desk for work, and it goes really fast, and it has a great battery life. So I give this 4 out of 5 stars. The reason I'm not giving it that 5th star is because it's $300. There's other one wheels on this list, and there were some scooters that are under that price limit that I think would be a little bit more effective than a unicycle, especially for someone who's not very well balanced. But I do think this is a really cool piece of tech. And if you're a well-balanced person, then maybe the Hover Club Solo Electric Unicycle will be absolutely perfect for you. The Surfwheel SU27. That's how tall it is. The Surfwheel SU. So this is $387. It is designed for an urban street road conditions. Do not use this for mud, dirt, rocks, sandhills, ice, or snow. So again, Alberta people, this one is not for you. You're not going to be able to ride this in the snow. So you need to know that going in. But to all the people living in Seattle or California listening to this, I think this is a really great little surf wheel. It is definitely something that looks very sleek and looks very cool. It has a max load of 220 pounds. It has a max speed of 12 miles per hour. You can use your app to turn it on, so that's super cool. And it has a battery replacement so that if you're worried about it dying, if you have a really long trip planned, you can bring 2 batteries and just switch them out. So that's really cool. However, the thing that I need to warn everybody about is that you do need to practice to be able to master this form of transportation. A lot of the ones I've named, other than the hover shoes, have been super easy to use. You pretty much just stand on them. This one is apparently very similar to learning how to surf or learning how to skateboard. So it does take a lot of balance to sort of master the movement of it. But once you have it mastered, you're good to go. So I definitely recommend this for anybody who is looking for something really cool and really sleek to use. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. It is a good price. It has a great speed, and the double battery is just a really great bonus. Number 4, the Segway 9Bot S-Smart self-balancing electric scooter. I know. Maybe this should have gone on the scooter list. I'm not sure. Look this one up because it's somewhere between a one wheel and a scooter. It's not tall enough to be a scooter. It doesn't have the long deck like a scooter, but it's not exactly a one wheel either. But it is a really great product. It is a really great piece of tech. So this is $489. It only weighs 28 pounds, but it can hold 220 pounds. The max speed is a little low with only 10 miles per hour, but a single charge battery can run you up to 13.7 miles. So the Segway 9Bot S-Smart self-balancing electric scooter, it's self-balancing, first of all. It's electric, secondly. And third, it's a good price for something that is going to be able to take you really far, really fast, and really comfortably. So it's definitely closer to being a one-wheel, which is why it's on this list, because there's not anything for you to really scoot with. It's more of a setting, letting it take you type deal going on here. So definitely take a look at it if you're interested for sort of an in-between of the scooter and the one wheel. I give it 5 out of 5 stars because I think it looks super cool. Not a lot of these are cool looking. You're going to look a little dorky maybe, especially on those hover shoes. But this one does look super cool, so I definitely recommend it. And it's only $489, which is on the higher price end of these one wheels, but it's somewhere in the middle of those scooter prices. So I definitely do recommend you take a look at that if you're looking for something in between a scooter and a one wheel. The number 5 one wheel transportation that I want to recommend for everybody. Oh, you guys are going to be so mad at me because this is so unrealistic for anyone to be able to buy. But if you're able to buy it, send me a photo of it. Send me a photo of you using it because I would be really interested to see this one in action. It is the Scoot Rider Yellow on Black. So it costs $1,195. But I'm going to tell you why. Because it is so worth that price. If you can afford it, buy it. Buy it today. It is water resistant. You can ride it on all terrain. So for everybody who I just told in Alberta who shouldn't be listening to this podcast, listen to it again. Because this one is for you. Because you can ride this through the snow and the ice. It's built for all terrain. And it has a speed up to 16 miles per hour, which is definitely one of the faster ones we've seen. It has an auto speed and side tilt protection. So if you're suddenly going down a hill, if you suddenly hit ice, it's going to slow down for you. It's going to help you from not tilting, which is also really great because a few of these, like I talked about, you need to already be aware of what your balance is or you need to practice it quite a bit. This is going to have that side tilt protection so that if you're leaning too far to one side, it's going to correct it for you. It only takes 2 hours to charge fully, and then you can drive it up to 15 miles per hour, which is by far the farthest we have seen any of these one-wheel devices be able to take anybody. So the Scoot Rider Yellow on Black for $1,195 is 5 out of 5 golden stars. I think this is a great product. It does look super cool, and yeah, it's a lot of money, but did you not just hear all the things you can do with it? It's pretty incredible. So I definitely recommend it for anybody who wants a one-wheel scooter type tech transportation. The Scoot Rider Yellow on Black is my favorite that I've listed out of all of the things I've listed today. Out of this top 5 list, it's the best. Out of all the transportation we've looked at, I think it's the best. So I highly, highly recommend it. Okay, everyone, that is it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I had so much fun recording it, and I hope you had fun listening to it. If you did, make sure you subscribe to our podcast. We post new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much for listening to the GSMC Technology Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jakewish, and I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.